Boom! Texas has a kicker out of the transfer portal for 2026, and we'll talk about it here on this latest edition of On Texas Football. I'm Jeff Howe, joined by CJ Vogel. Gianni Spetic, Lou Groza semifinalist out of Memphis, is the kicker edition for Texas out of the transfer portal. 2 years at Ohio, 1 year at Memphis this past season, 15 for 20 on field goals. 75%. I did the math, so you don't have to. For a perfect 49 for 49 on extra points for his career, 46 for 62 on field goals, 129 of 131 on extra points. CJ, he was 4 of 5 from 50 plus from Memphis this past season. As I said, a semifinalist for the Lou Groza Award. And I'm glad we're doing this video because I love your take that, hey, every year you should just try to go find a senior kicker, a 1 year mercenary kicker, and or punter out of the portal.
Yeah, it's that easy. It's that easy. Go get yourself a guy that's been there, that's done that, has done it in front of a crowd before. I'm all for it. Texas benefited, obviously, from bringing in Mason Shipley, in 2025. Now they go out and get Spedic from Memphis. Jeff, it just makes sense. You know, a guy that's played 3 years as the go-to kicker at Memphis. Of course, you mentioned it, 62 attempts. I know it's only a 74, 75% complete or make percentage, but ultimately a guy who's made a lot of kicks in his career. And on top of that, he has a big leg, right? 52 was his long in 2024. He bumped that back to 55 in 2025, 4 of 5 from 50 plus yards. The hope, of course, is that he won't be needing to attempt that many kicks in 2026. However, it's nice to know that distance won't be an issue for the Longhorns next fall.
Yeah, I mean, look, Justin Tucker didn't kick field goals or extra points as a freshman. Hunter Lawrence didn't do it as a freshman. Texas has had some really good kickers over the years, and those guys didn't do it as freshmen. It's different now, especially, we talk about the 85 scholarship era going to 105. There's no reason why you shouldn't have some really good specialists on scholarships. CJ, I know Coach Shipley has been big about that. Hey, when you're expanding the scholarships, you should have your punter, kicker, and snapper. You should have all those guys on scholarship and have it taken care of. But I just love the fact that and look, we talk about Texas being all in. This is part of that. It would be a shame if you went into a season just hanging all your hopes for the kicking game on the shoulders of Jake Collette, even though he could be really good at some point. CJ, it's just too much of a gamble to leave it to chance with a true freshman.
Yeah, look, again, I've said this about other positions. True freshmen are not meant to play and be impactful guys immediately, right? It takes a special talent to step foot on college campuses and immediately say, hey, I'm the best in my position here, in my room, on my team, whatever it is. So for Jake Collette, look, I think it's fantastic to come in, get acclimated to the game, get acclimated to practice, work with the Texas kicking staff as well, and develop behind the scenes. And to let Spedic be the guy who, with 1 year of eligibility remaining, can go out there and hopefully kick in some big games and big moments to put himself in a position to head off to the NFL afterward as well. This all kind of makes sense to me, Jeff, and at the specialist position specifically, it's the easiest blueprint that we'll see at any level of college football for me. Go get yourself a veteran specialist, kick your feet up, and let them do the work next fall.
CJ, is it a bit of a roll of the dice? And the only reason I say that is because you're making the decision now, but unlike last year, you don't have the spring window. Now, they got Jack Bomeister in the winter window last year. We knew the punting issues were abound for this team. They were clear as day in 2024, so they didn't waste any time. They went to the portal and got Bomeister. But Mason Shipley wasn't added until the spring window. As I've said before, and we'll continue to reiterate, there is no spring window this year. It is a little bit of a roll of the dice, CJ, but overall, are you just happy that it's a veteran kicker, like you said, who's been there, done that?
Yeah, I am. And again, I'm happy that there's a big leg attached to Spedic. A guy that if you need 55 plus, you can at least have an attempt at that. And look, I think Mason Shipley was a very good kicker for Texas. He was 18 of 19 inside of 49 yards. So that tells you he was almost automatic. I think the only one miss inside of 50 was against Mississippi State to begin the third quarter. And evidently Texas was able to claw back and win that in large part because of a kick later in the game from Shipley. But that tells me that, if you're hoping for much of the same, Spedic at least allows you to extend that range a little bit further and get back into the 55 or so range. But it's a huge addition for me as a guy with veteran experience, Jeff.
CJ, I'm going to get granular here in the kicking game, so I hope everybody just takes this ride with me real quick. But I like the fact that you now, especially now, again, as Coach Shipley has pointed out, expanded to 105, make sure all your specialists are taken care of. Spencer Barnett, the former Westlake product in Austin, was the kickoff guy after Will Stone decided he was going to enter the portal. Do you like having I personally like having a kickoff guy, so that way your place kicker doesn't have to worry about wearing his leg out on kickoffs. He can just focus on field goals and PATs. Is it realistic, CJ, to go get a kickoff guy out of the portal, or do you think Spencer Barnett can handle that in 2026?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question, because I sat there and watched the Cheez-It Bowl and said, these kicks don't feel like they have any juice. And I know Texas likes to have kickoffs returned because they want their athleticism and their speed on the kickoff unit to go pin opposing teams deep, and they've been pretty successful. Well, on top of not having a great kickoff unit against Michigan, I also felt like kicks were 5 or 6, 7, 8 yards shorter than what we typically saw, which was caught at the 1 or right at the goal line. So I know that's tricky. I think Barnett has the leg in him. He made a 60-yard field goal at Austin Westlake, but I didn't see that necessarily in that game when given the opportunity against Michigan. So maybe they do. Maybe they do find, and maybe that's how you ease in a Jake Collette as well, right? Because this is a guy who, if you need experience, how much lower of stakes can you get than go out there and kick a ball as far as you can, basically, on kickoff?
CJ, do you want to see Texas handle punter in the portal as well, or how do you feel about the potential of Mikey Bukauskas being the punter as a true freshman? Now, we saw them do it in 2024 with Michael Kern. It was very hit or miss. And again, I'll just reiterate, again, he was coming from a different country, but man, if Michael Dixon can struggle as a freshman, just about any punter can struggle as a freshman. Where are you at on the potential of going to get a punter out of the portal?
No, I think you still go out there and you add yourself a portal punter. And look, field position is so valuable, especially in the SEC, when you know that the offenses are going to be very talented. And if you can force a team to gain 20 additional yards, that's a huge plus. And we already talked about it, how aggressive, how violent, whatever adjective you want to use to describe this incoming 2026 defense. Forcing teams to go the length of the field is going to be a high challenge for anybody. On top of that, look, I got to see Mikey Bukauskas in Orlando for the Under Armour All-American game. I must have forgot or didn't realize he is about 6'4.5", 6'5". He is a big kid. He does have a big leg. I got to watch him in practice, but again, any experience is good experience for me at the punting position, and there shouldn't be any shortage of all conference level guys from the mid-majors ready to take that leap with already experience and production on the field.
It doesn't take a rocket scientist to look at the correlation and say, hey, you had a true freshman punter in 2024, and along with the fact that your offense turned the ball over way more than you would want, Texas was one of the worst field position teams in the country.
Yep.
This year, your offense did a much better job protecting the ball. You got a veteran punter out of the portal, and lo and behold, Texas was one of the best field position teams in the country.
Crazy, huh?
Ryan Niblett's return ability also had a lot to do with that, and you bring Niblett back, and now you add Gianni Spetic out of Memphis to take care of your place kicking and PAT or field goal PAT duties. We'll see what Texas does with a kickoff guy, whether it's Spencer Barnett, whether Spedic handles it, or Texas goes elsewhere for 2026. CJ, thank you for the knowledge and expertise. As always, thank you to Matthew behind the scenes for producing it. If you're not a member over at ontexasfootball.com, we have our Portal Madness special going on right now. Your first month of access at ontexasfootball.com for just $1. There is so much news coming our way as it relates to the transfer portal, guys visiting, guys coming on the radar, guys leaving. We can only cover so much here on the channel. What we don't cover on the channel, we've got for you over at ontexasfootball.com. And again, get over there and take advantage of our Portal Madness special right now. Your first month of access for just $1 over at ontexasfootball.com. Make sure that you like this video and that you're subscribed to the On Texas Football YouTube channel. That way, whether it's here on the channel or on the site, you're not missing any of our transfer portal coverage until the portal closes on January 16th. For CJ, for Matthew, for the entire On Texas Football staff, I'm Jeff Howe. Thank you so much for watching and listening. And until next time, welcome.
Congrats, Gianni.